This is In the Black with T. Dallas Smith. Conversations with trailblazers, glass ceiling breakers, and champions for change who inspire and cultivate leaders every day.
I'm back in the black with Michael Ford, the Senior Vice President of Global Real Estate and Security at AT&T. We've been talking about his amazing career in military, finance and accounting, and now real estate and security. Now, Michael, we mentioned your parents in part one, but now I'd love to find out how your wife got you to Fargo, North Dakota.
I was actually working in downtown Fort Lauderdale. I'm sitting in my corner office, enjoying the warm weather there, the palm trees, the beaches, loving my job. I was in a finance and accounting role. I received a call from a Microsoft recruiter talking to me about, working at Microsoft and working in their shared services organization. They wanted me to create the finance and accounting shared services organization for Microsoft. And that's all the back office operations as it relates to finance and accounting. And, I'm thinking about it. Microsoft is headquartered in Seattle. It rains all the time there, but, it's a great company. I could probably make that work. But typically you put shared services organizations in a lower cost area. So after about a 25-minute conversation with the recruiter, he didn't let me get in many words. He was selling. And so I said, excuse me, what location is it? He said, Fargo, North Dakota. I went silent. He said, are you there? I said, I'm here, but I think you just said Fargo, North Dakota. The only thing I know about Fargo is the movie. It's cold up there.
Right.
And you guys put people in wood chippers. And so we had a good laugh about that. He said, but I need you to keep an open mind. I said, I'll keep an open mind, but I think it's Fargo, North Dakota. And so I did keep an open mind. I flew up there in the summer of 2004. A great visit. About 7 or 8 people came in from corporate to interview me. I knew the interview went well. I got back to Florida. They made me a great offer. Signing bonus, cash on hire, stock on hire, you name it. I thought about it long and hard. I held on to the offer for about a week. I finally called the hiring manager. I called her and said, thanks, but no thanks. I'm not going to take the job. I just couldn't see moving my family to Fargo, North Dakota out of Florida. 6 months later, they came back to me and they said, would you please come back and talk to us again? We've interviewed a lot of people, but we think you're the perfect fit for the role. We decided we'll go. It's February at this time. It's like really, really cold. But we get up there. My wife, my kids got a chance to get around to the elementary schools, the high schools, talk about how the education is great for the kids there. I had my kids in private school in Florida. I was able to put them in public school up there, and it was just as good. But my wife is the one that sold me on the deal. They made another offer. It was a great offer. They increased everything. I still wasn't sold, but my wife backdoored me. She called my parents, a lot of my uncles and aunts, and they wore me down. And I took the job in Fargo, North Dakota for Microsoft. It's probably the best thing I've ever done. I got a chance to actually build an organization from the ground up. I was there for 3 years, and then I moved to corporate, had the opportunity to meet all the senior leaders of the company because they would come to Fargo to visit at least once a year. Steve Ballmer was the CEO at that time. Chris O'Dell was the CFO. I got a chance to spend quality time with them in my first 3 years before I moved to corporate, and my career took off from there.
And we're talking 17 years later?
18, yeah.
18 total. So big shout out to Mrs. Ford for getting it right.
That's right. Because I would have got it wrong.
You would have got it wrong, man. So you got to give credit. So I really appreciate that statement. I want to take a little bit of different turn. Now, you are from Alabama, and you don't let anybody forget that you're not. I'm surprised you hadn't said Roll Tide 5 times already.
No.
But talk about the city that you're from in Alabama and how that has impacted who you are today.
I'm from a little town outside of Huntsville, Alabama called New Market. A great place to live. About 3 years ago, Huntsville was named as like one of the number one places to live. I grew up in the country. I grew up in construction working with my dad. I can lay brick. I can pour concrete. I can lay blocks. I can wire a house. I'm a carpenter. I'm all of that. But I did that growing up in Huntsville, Alabama, to be more specific, New Market, Alabama. It has absolutely shaped who I am today. Now, I grew up in the 60s, 70s. That was a very difficult time in the South. And I experienced a little bit of everything. Matter of fact, just right down from my house, actually in the backyard, in a field in my best friend's yard, there was a Klan rally there. And I experienced that in the 70s. But it shaped who I was. It made me a better person. And now I'm going back and I'm giving back to where I'm from. I'm actually building apartments in New Market, Alabama, where I grew up, about a quarter of a mile from the high school I went to.
That's awesome, man. And, it's funny. We talk about this stuff, reading history. You think it's 100 years ago. We're talking about this is in both our lifetimes that you experienced this. But it's hell, I tip my hat to you, man, about returning back home. I told you about a house in my old neighborhood, Hunter Hill. And the whole idea is about returning back home, because at the end of the day, it's like, there's no place like home. It's literally, that's just a true statement, man. But and your father's how old now?
My father just turned 86 years old on March 21st.
Oh, wow, man. Happy belated birthday. But 86, but he's still doing the work.
That's right. He's a general contractor for the site. And my wife does most of the work. Of course, she's coordinating it, but my dad's the general contractor.
Dude, you got to love it. And so for me, there's a secret to the longevity is you got to keep doing what you love. And the minute you stop doing what you love, I think that's when the clock starts reversing back, man. So a big shout out to big Mr. Ford, right?
Hey, before I forget though, Roll Tide.
Right, there you go. Here we go. I was waiting on that. Shout out to my man Bobby out there if you're listening, man. You got, what would he say? War Eagle.
Oh, yeah, he's that other team in the state, little brother in the state. And we call Atlanta, Alabama East anyway. We don't lose there.
Hey, man, is there anything you'd like to just say that I hadn't asked you that you would just want people to know about Michael Ford and this thing called commercial real estate?
Well, I love what I do. I'm glad I made my way into commercial real estate. But for me going forward, it's about inspiring that next generation of commercial real estate leaders. That's my priority going forward. And let's get off of that roller coaster and continue to lift as we climb and keep this industry moving forward and upward. And diversity, equity, and inclusion, it still matters. It's not a bad thing.
One thing I'd say that you and I, that we did do that I'm very proud of is the community first approach. And I think the logic behind that was simply one of the things that you and I talked about was people of these communities, we buy phones, we buy computers, and at some point, because you made this comment, you said, Dallas, if we come in and put 500,000 square feet in any community USA, we're going to gentrify that community because the executives are going to be the ones who are going to be able to live closer and walk to work. It's going to drive values up. But if we can approach housing in a way that can keep the people who protect the building and clean the building, we can really impact the community. And that was one of the things that we talked about, empowerment housing, with my friend Egbert Perry, which I still think that narrative is still a true narrative. And just want to see if you want to add any comments to the community first approach.
In corporate America, that's what we should be focused on. We should reflect the communities that we live in, the communities that we serve. Corporate real estate can be that glue to public and private partnerships. We should be focused on investing in learning centers, partnerships with local schools, redeveloping unused properties, and empowerment housing, as you mentioned. That's what we should be focused on. It should be the the corporation should focus on the community as well. And a lot of them do.
Well, Michael, your vision for AT&T moving forward, kind of as a real estate department, what do you see?
We're going to change. We're in a good place as a company. I think we've turned a corner. We're preparing for the future. We want to meet the needs of our customers, our consumers in the future. We're going to, redevelop, re-envision. We're going to create the environment, the portfolio that we need as a company. We're not just going to optimize what we have. It's about creating for the future.
No, I love it. And we focus a lot on commercial real estate, obviously, because that's what you're running, but you also run security as well.
Yeah, it's very similar to real estate. So I have real estate, security and investigations. I also have environment, health, and safety for the company. And for me, it's all about using technology to make our jobs easier. We're taking sort of our analog processes and making them digital. We're using AI. We're using machine learning to make our job easier and to keep our employees, our customers, and our partners like you safe.
Michael Ford, I tell people all the time I'm going to build a statue of you in the backyard of my house because you single-handedly changed the trajectory for T. Dallas Smith and Company. Obviously, I can never say thank you enough, but I want to say thank you every time I do see you. We've got 19 people in the shop as a result of just what you've done for us and continue to do for the industry. So many blessings to you, my friend. You're the best. And I can't even believe I'm going to actually say this, but I'm going to actually say roll tide.
Roll tide. Your statue is first. I'll stand behind you because you came before me.
I think you just called me old.
I did.
And that wraps up this episode of In the Black. I hope you've enjoyed the show. And if you did, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any new episodes. And if you have time, we would really appreciate it if you left us a review so other folks can find us. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. And I pray that you stay in the black.
This has been In the Black with T. Dallas Smith. To find out how you can change the dominant narrative in the commercial real estate industry and challenge the status quo to improve the lives of others, go to tdsintheblack.com. In the Black with T. Dallas Smith is a production of Forbes Books.